What's up, Bulldogs? All right, in this video, I'm going to tell you why you need to start shit with your woman if you want to have a better relationship and you want her to respect you more. And this might seem like some whack advice, I guess, but let me explain something to you. So I was talking with a friend of mine, and we were talking about what was going on with him, and he was having a hard time with his woman. She was basically being kind of difficult, right? And there was a circumstance where he strongly felt that he was right and she was wrong. She wronged him, right? And so he was, upset by this. And he told me, he's like, yeah, no, I got it handled. I just apologized to her, even though she's wrong, and it's okay. Like, I'm just going to be the bigger man here. And I said, no, never do that. Why? Because I'll tell you this, all right, and quote me on this, that you never, ever want to be tolerant. Tolerance is what causes a relationship to fizzle out. It's what causes a woman to lose respect for you. You might think that you're being emotionally regulated and being masculine by just not allowing her to draw you in. And it's good. It's a good step to not get into the fight, but to concede without a conflict is worse. It's giving up, and she knows it. Even if you think that you fooled her, even if you think that you have convinced her that you just agree with her or whatever you're doing there, you're just trying to keep the peace. Trying to keep the peace will cause more conflict than actually actively seeking conflict. So as a man, what you should really be doing is, it doesn't matter the right or wrong. It's not about that, but never ever apologize when you feel right. Now, there's a difference between using the word sorry to apologize and using the word sorry to sympathize, okay? And so oftentimes I've advised guys, and they've pointed out in some videos I've said, to say to a woman, to validate her emotions, to say, I'm sorry that hurt you. I'm sorry that you feel that way. That's not my intention. I don't want you to feel like that. I care about how you feel. I'm sorry that you're going through this. That expression of the word sorrow is a sympathetic expression. It's not an apologetic one. And you need to know the difference, because when you say, I'm sorry, I was wrong, I messed up, that's an apology. That's an apologetic. And that indicates a wrongdoing and a sense of trying to create restitution for something that you've done. It's an acknowledgement of being wrong. Okay. And that's an important thing to do in the right circumstance, but it is used too often, and it should not be used when that is not the truth. Everything that you say as a man, everything has to come from your core, from your masculine truth. It cannot be fake or manufactured. And so when you tell a woman, I'm sorry, when you don't really mean that, you're being weak. So what do you want to do in that case? Okay. The most important thing is that you still empathize with how she feels, right? So in the circumstance where she's upset and you want to resolve an issue, you can say to her, hey, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I understand how you feel. You can let her express her emotions, but you don't have to agree with the context around them of what the circumstance of what she's saying. If she's arguing with you or whatever, especially when she's in the wrong, right? Don't encourage that behavior. In fact, what you should be doing is you should be seeking out conflict, right? Because this is what doing the work is, right? If you want to do the work, because people say, they use the phrase doing the work all the time, whether it's on yourself or in a relationship. Doing the work is actively seeking out conflict to resolve all conflicts, to make it so that there is nothing between you. And so let's say that your woman has done something to piss you off. You might say, well, okay, I don't need to say anything about it. I'm just going to ignore it. That's a suppression. That's a suppression, because you are disturbed by that thing. And you might be like, well, I don't want to be a bitch. Correct. Don't be a bitch, right? Remember, I did the video telling you that if a woman says what's wrong, then you're being a bitch. You're being a little bitch. Don't do that. All right. Instead of pouting, instead of her saying what's wrong, instead of getting all upset about it, be calm, be stoic, be unfazed, but address. Just say, hey, look, you know what? This, I really didn't like when you did this. It wasn't cool. I didn't appreciate that. All right. Or that did not feel good when you said this to me. Right. Okay, say it in love, everything in love, and she is probably going to react. Honestly, most people are defensive. Most women are defensive. They're highly defensive to any kind of criticism that they perceive, even if it's presented in the right way. But that's okay. This is where you practice not being fazed. This is where you don't just give up and say, see, I can't talk to you. Instead, you continue in love and you resolve the issue. You work towards resolving that issue. Now, that might turn into a 5-hour discussion. That's fine. But stay present, stay unfazed, and allow yourself to feel whatever pain that you go through in that experience, unfazed, feeling the pain, but being unfazed by it, meaning that you do not react to the pain, okay? And communicate it out. Talk about it. It's even better than just talking about it to just demonstrate your ability to stay open through whatever pain and to turn her emotion around, because she's not going to respond as much to logic. You're not going to logic her out of it. You've said the thing, right? If she's done something and it's upset you, or there's something between the two of you, you've said the thing, you've called it out, you put it out into the open, and that's great. And then now you don't have to go deeper into that. Now you can just demonstrate love. You can try to change her emotional state. And what's going to happen is she's going to have a trust for you, and she will take in everything that you say, every criticism, even if it's well put, that you say to a woman, every bit of direction, it goes deep inside her. You might not think it's affecting her, but it does, and she's hearing it. And so what happens though is that many times you say the thing and she rejects it because you're doing it without love, and she sees your weakness through it. She sees that you are not the kind of man that is going to sustain where you're at, and you're going to be moved by her. Okay, you're getting into the fight, you're getting into the argument, right? So there's a big difference between a fight and a conflict. You want to have conflict. You want to seek out healthy conflict. That is what is doing the work, whether that be in your own life or especially in your relationship. So that means do not dismiss things. Do not be tolerant. Tolerance is the death of a relationship. Instead, you're going to go and you're going to say the things that need to be said. Say them in the right way. Do not be fazed by the response, and watch what happens. Watch how she's going to start to respond, and she's going to respect you a lot more, and she's going to stop challenging you. Because the first few times that you do this, she's going to challenge you back hard. But as you continually do this over time, that's not going to happen anymore. All right, guys, check out the link down below if you want to join a whole community of men that are improving themselves, that are building better relationships, building better lives. And if you really want some in-depth help on relationships, if you're married in a serious relationship or you want to get into one, absolutely check out the podcast I have with my wife called the Better Than Perfect podcast. We do a weekly video episode. We've got like 60 something episodes. It's really good shit. We go in depth for an hour on all of these topics, and you'll get a female perspective as well. But I highly encourage you to check that out. We also have a clips channel. If you want kind of smaller segments, you can search those on YouTube. I'll see you tomorrow.